Welcome to Poetry Lockdown. We're up to day 105. Today I'm bringing you a poet, Rhina P. Espaillat, I think that's how you pronounce her last name, who, like a number of the poets on this video series, was introduced to me by my students. I mentioned before, when I do poetry units, I always have students memorize a poem that means something to them. I never tell them what to memorize. And then they have to recite it in front of their classmates. It's stressful but beautiful. And a lot of times students will choose a poem by Rhina P. Espaillat, Bilingual, Bilingue. I linked you to that poem because it's magnificent. But as a result of hearing students do that poem a number of times, I've looked into Espaillat's work and found other poems that I love. So I want to share one of my favorite poems by this poet. With that little intro, let me dive into this poem called Weighing In, which is about a pretty everyday normal thing, stepping on the scale, and then opens up into something pretty breathtaking. Here we go. Weighing In by Rhina P. Espaillat. What the scale tells you is how much the earth has missed you, body, how it wants you back again after you leave it to go forth into the light. Do you remember how earth ardently noticed you then? Others would rock you in their arms, warm in the flow that fed you, coaxed you upright. Then earth began to claim you with spots and fevers, began to lick at you with a bruised knee, a bloody shin, and finally to stoke you, body, drumming intimate coded messages through music you dance to unawares, there in your dreaming and your poems and your obedient blood. Body, how useful you became, how lucky, heavy with news and breakage, rich and sad, sometimes imagining that greedy zero you must have been, that promising empty sack of possibilities, never to come tomorrow. But look at you now, body, soft old shoe that love wears when it's stirring. Look down, look how earth wants what you weigh, needs what you know. I love this poem. So one of the things that I always am moved by in poems is direct address. So I really like that the poetic speaker directly addresses her body. And then also what's really interesting is there's kind of like this triangle set up because she's really talking about like a love affair between the body, the speaker's body, and the earth. There's those really beautiful lines like when the earth begins to claim you, body, with spots and fevers, right? That's a painful love affair there. Licks at you with a bruised knee, a bloody shin, and there's the stoking, right, of the dreams that are embodied by the poet. And then that beautiful last line is as the speaker is aging like a soft old shoe. But and this last line really reminded me of Jericho Brown's poem that I read about a week and a half ago. You might remember in that poem, he really zooms in on the grocery store cashier, and they are washing their hands for us. So really, love is embodied in an act of responsibility, and that's where I see Espaillat going as well, right? She says in the last lines, look at you now, body, soft old shoe that love wears when it's stirring. Look down, look how earth wants what you weigh, needs what you know. And so, truly to be an embodied person means to be responsible with your body. And that's really the ultimate act of love. I find that to just be a really helpful message at all times, but definitely at this moment. So that's my 2 cents on this exceptional poem by Rhina P. Espaillat. Thank you, Rhina P. Espaillat, for your witness as a poet, and thank you all for listening today.